What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here, proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. She is a digital content creator and she is a sports writer for the Colorado Rockies. Her name is Sarah Rogers, and we're going to be talking to her about her why of getting into sports reporting. So, without any further ado, I introduce you to wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Sarah Rogers. Hello
Hello.
there. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. It's a pleasure to finally see you face to face. You look absolutely
Right?
lovely tonight. I just want to say
Well,
that.
thank you. I'm trying not to melt. It's super hot here.
I know that's right. I'm trying not to melt my damn self. I got the AC on in the house and its surroundings, so I totally understand. I just want to say thank you for allocating your time to me, coming on
Yeah,
to my
absolutely.
podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I want to ask you, how was your weekend and how's your Monday been going so far?
Um, Weekend was pretty chill. Just kind of hung out. Baseball season that kind of takes up most of my time. So we just, kind of hung around the house with the kids. And today has been just a normal day. Work and now here.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I want to reiterate to you, Sarah, why I wanted to have you on here. I know, as you said, baseball takes up a lot of your time. You write for
Mhm.
the Colorado Rockies. And obviously, if anybody follows you on Twitter, they know that, you are definitely diehard info when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. You own it. You own it when it comes
Yeah,
to the
I,
411 and the news. No question
I
about
try
that.
to be.
No, and no doubt, they're having a historic season in the opposite way.
Yeah.
But as of lately, they are playing a little bit better baseball, but they aren't having one of their better seasons, unfortunately. And we will get into some Colorado Rockies talk a little bit
Yeah,
later on in the
absolutely.
podcast for sure. Um, but with me being a sports journalist as well, I like talking to like-minded people.
Mhm.
I like talking to people who are passionate about sports and writing just like I am. So it was a no-brainer to have you on here. I'm happy to do so. So with that being said, the first question is always the same, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models, any inspirations growing up? But ultimately, why did you want to be in the sports journalism field?
Um, I really just I don't know anything else, honestly. I grew up, baseball was I grew up a block from a baseball field, and we had like a collegiate league team as I was growing up, and that was just where I gravitated, and it was always something that I enjoyed. I loved being at the ballpark. I loved poring over stats and watching how the broadcasters were doing their thing, and it just to be able to convey what was happening on the field to the people at home and to make it a little more entertaining than just sitting there, watching a guy swing and miss at a ball several times before they finally hit something,
Right.
just always really spoke to me. And so it made me just want to, it's just always what I wanted to do.
Okay, I love that. I do. I mean, Kobe Bryant is the reason why I got into sports.
Mhm.
No question about it. Growing up, being able to, grow up in San Diego, but root for the Lakers,
Yeah.
especially that first three-peat being in my, I would say, middle slash high school years, because I was in middle school when they first started, but then high school I got into it. So, I loved that, and I always knew I wanted to be in sports. I just didn't know what to do in sports,
Yeah.
and then I found my niche a little bit later on in life. I want to ask you about your Colorado Rockies, right? And I don't know if you grew up in Denver, Colorado or not. I'm not sure if that's where you grew up, but talk to me about how that opportunity came about. And what all do you do? I mean, as far as, Do you get a chance to attend games? Are you just virtually doing things? It's 162 games, so it's at least
Yeah.
81 home games.
Mhm.
So, and I'm sure that if I'm not mistaken, I believe you work at Colorado Tech as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, tell me, how did the opportunity come about, and what is it all that you are able to do?
So I actually grew up and live in Southwest Kansas right now. The closest major league ballpark to me is Denver, from where
Sure,
I'm
sure.
located, which that throws a lot of people off because you would people automatically assume when I say Kansas, Kansas City is like twice the distance from Denver. So, um, and I grew up a Braves fan, TBS.
Wow.
That was what we had back then. So grew
Okay.
up watching the Braves, and as soon as Coors Field was a thing, my family was taking me as a little kid up to Braves games there. So that was where it really kind of started. And when we would go to anything that wasn't the Braves, I was always cheering for the Rockies. Um, of course, when it was the Braves, we were rooting for the Braves. But last year, I got an opportunity. There was a player that did something really really cool for my son for his birthday last year, that kind of drew me back into the Rockies a little bit more. I had always gone up for games and stuff like that, and had just been kind of casual about it. But a lot of appreciation to him for hooking my son up there, and it kind of drew me back into the team a little bit more than I had been. Had always been a huge Charlie Blackmon fan, so had always kind of followed along through that. But
Good to hear.
really started getting back into them. And then Rockies Now and 5280 Media is actually who I write through. Um, they were looking for some people and had a little conversation with them, and they decided they wanted me to join on with them. And super excited about it. Of course, we kind of have a pretty broad range that we can cover. When I do go to games, I definitely want to cover the game that I'm at. Um, a lot of recaps as far as like watching the television broadcast, player profiles, things of that nature. Um,
Right.
it's with the way the season is going, it's a
Mm,
very fluid situation. There's a lot of stuff happening, guys
sure.
bouncing back and forth all the time. So right now, I'm just trying to get a couple pieces a month out to everybody, just because it changes so fast. By the time I start writing on one thing, when the story's done and ready, that situation has completely evolved and changed into something else. So it's been a weird year to try to do this, but
Mhm.
it's been fun though.
I love the fact that you're a huge Braves fan growing up. I was a huge Padres fan growing up, obviously growing up in San Diego. Braves was also one of my favorite teams though, because I loved their three pitchers and Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a huge historian of the game. Atlanta is actually where I transplanted from because I graduated college out in Atlanta, Georgia. I transplanted from there now to Minnesota. So I was actually in Atlanta. My last year was 2021, which so happened to be the year the Braves won the World Series.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so that was a special time, going to that Battery Atlanta and being there for the clinching game, and then going to PBR after that. That was just amazing, no question about it. So it was a dope time for sure. Sarah, I want to ask you some favorite questions. And you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Okay, so here we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
I'm a big steak person. Nothing
Mm,
better than steak and some kind of potato. I'll go for that any day of the week.
I know that's right. Now, do
I
we do
like
we
to
like
fire up the grill.
sirloin, ribeye, filet mignon, or porterhouse?
Really, I like a good New York strip.
Okay, I like that. I like that. And then, how do you like your steak?
A lot of people, I'm going to get a lot of hate here. I'm a medium well person. So,
You are the
but
sec.
so is Juan
So
Soto. So I'm going to take that.
okay, shout out to Juan Soto for liking this steak medium rare. That's what I'm medium well. Sorry, medium well. You are the second person in a row since I've had on this podcast today that said they like steak medium well. I'm like, and I haven't heard that. I have not heard that. Most people like it either medium rare or like it well done. So Yeah,
See,
that's pretty interesting.
I don't like that whole once you get it well done, it's a little too tough. Once I can see too much pink in the middle, I'm out. I can't do it. It's too chewy for me. But you get
Mm,
just a little bit there in the middle and it's perfect. So,
okay, I'm with you on that. I'm a huge taco person, so tacos would be mine. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
oh, that's rough because I've been to a lot of really, really good ones. I actually used to have a music podcast. Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers was a great one. That was
Hmm.
probably the first really big one I went to, but I would say probably the one I had the most fun at was Morgan Wallen, Kansas City Night 2 last year.
Okay. Morgan Wallen's good. He need to stay his ass out the TV though, out trouble. He
Yep.
definitely needs to do that. But his music is very good, no question. And I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. Metallica is somebody who I had a really good time at their concert when I went to. The Black Album is always going to be one of my favorite albums of Metallica for sure. Um, and the Foo Fighters, the Best of You is probably my favorite song of theirs, no question. Love that. Dave Grohl is one of the best singers out there too, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
San Diego, honestly. Well,
Hmm.
I've been Nassau, Bahamas is pretty close second, but it was a little too hot down there for me. I like
Sure.
it, the resort, everything super relaxing, but I love to go to San Diego any time of year. It's very um it's just the whole vibe of San Diego. It doesn't matter where you go, really. It's just real laid back. It's the kind of environment that I love to be in. Every time I've gone out there, I always like to do little Airbnbs in kind of random neighborhoods, good neighborhoods. Um, but I like to go just find kind of cool places to stay where I can go walk around and explore and always have a good time out there.
Yeah, it's very, very beautiful out there. I'm not going to even argue with that. Obviously, I grew up out there, so I definitely
Yeah.
love San Diego for sure. My place, I would say, is hmm, it's a toss up between Vegas and New Orleans. Either one of those.
Yeah.
Vegas can get hot at times, but I love Vegas because I just love the strip. I love the
Yeah.
shows. I love the hotels. I love that. I just love the scene. And in New Orleans, the food is just amazing.
Yeah.
There's
I get in too much trouble in Vegas. So I gotta rein it in. I don't go to Vegas very often, and when I do, it's always a very short time there. So
well, Sarah, listen. I mean, trouble is a little good depending on who you with. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying. Trouble could be a
yeah.
little good depending on who you
My
with.
friends will leave me to the wolves every time. They will just
No.
say, "Okay, let her go.
Okay.
Let's see where she
Okay.
shows back up at." So
Okay.
I don't
Hmm.
trust my friends in Vegas.
I totally understand. I really do. That's what's up. I like that. This is a two-parter. Favorite
Okay.
sport that you like to watch on TV, favorite sport that you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
They're gonna be baseball because I honestly have never attended any other, like, outside of, like, high school football and stuff like that. That's
Wow.
really where I have only ever gone to baseball games at all different levels. One thing I would really love to do, I would love to get to a game at Neyland Stadium, go Vols. Yeah, that place seems unreal. So I would love to get to a football game there, but outside of
Hmm.
that, I just stick to baseball. I stay in my lane.
It is definitely a place you should go to. Living in Atlanta, Georgia for about 10 plus years, I had the opportunity to go there twice. Uh, the Rocky Top song did get on my damn nerves, not gonna lie about that. but it was good because each time that I went there, it was the UGA game.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty cool. So pretty cool to see that and go to that stadium. My goal is to go to all SEC stadiums for sure. And I've been
That's not
to
a bad goal at all. That's a
Absolutely. Been to
great
a
football environment. I that is one that I have not gotten to experience in person. I've been to a lot of SEC college towns, but just
Mhm.
have not made it to games.
That's
So,
okay. That's okay. Listen, it's on the bucket list, and it also seems like a goal of yours. So I know you're gonna make that happen for sure, no
yeah,
question. I love it. That's what's up. Last of the favorites.
okay.
Um, I've only been to Kansas one time, and that was to see the Jayhawks play. Um, I want to know because I'm a huge traveler and a foodie person. The next time I come in Kansas, where should I eat at? What is your favorite restaurant to eat
Oh,
at?
that's a tough call because
Mhm.
I am out here in the middle of nowhere where there's just not a lot. Like a lot of people, whenever like you say you went to see the Jayhawks play, that's a good 6.5, 7 hour drive from me.
Oh wow.
So
Mm,
I am out in the middle of farm country. It's very flat out here. There's not a lot happening. You're talking towns of like, less than 2,000 people, which is where I live. So really you can pop into just about any little mom and pop place in this area and get
mhm,
some amazing food. Like it's like if you're in there's a like Liberal is a place that has like tons of taco trucks, stuff like that. That is a full hour away from me. Like I'm really out here in the middle of nowhere. Um,
wow.
but yeah, really just about any little random mom and pop place in the southwest corner of Kansas, you're gonna find something really good there.
So let me ask you, where's the nearest airport? If you got to go to the airport and fly out somewhere, where's the nearest airport?
I There is an airport in Liberal, but it's a little itty bitty one that does like 2 flights a day, so I don't mess with that one. If I wanna fly out and go somewhere, like when I go to San Diego or when I go to Vegas or any of those
Mhm.
places, I have to drive 2.5 hours to Amarillo, Texas to get on a plane. So,
Wow,
out in the
Texas.
middle of when I say in the middle of nowhere, I mean in the middle of nowhere.
You ain't never lied, Sarah. My goodness.
No.
Okay. That's what's up. Now, I want to ask you what led you to Kansas? What led you to there? Or did you were you raised there or did you move there?
I was raised here. I actually was born in
Mm,
Arizona, but I was adopted when I was very young, and so I was raised here. And
okay.
so now I'm in this area because it's very cheap to live here, very very cheap to live here.
I can
And
imagine.
like I was saying, I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I'm also in the middle of everything because like Albuquerque's 5.5 hours, Denver's 4.5 hours, Kansas City's almost 8. Dallas is like 7, Wichita, Kansas is 5, Oklahoma City is 5. Like all these different places are within like 5 to 7 hours. So it's like one day road trips that you can take and get
Sure.
just about anywhere. So like I
Okay.
can
I
get
like it.
to Phoenix in the same amount of time that I can get to Houston. So I'm in a spot where a lot of road trip possibilities exist. So
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm a huge traveler. If I ever
mhm.
if I ever do come out to Kansas, I'm definitely going to try some mom and pop shops
Oh
again
yeah.
because I do like collegiate sports and I do like traveling to different places. And the Big 12 obviously is where the Jayhawks are in their conference. So
Hmm.
I like going to different conferences and watching different games and just seeing different environments for sure. I want to ask you about your day-to-day operations because like you said you got a full-time you got a full-time
Hmm.
job
Yeah.
and a lot of times the Rockies games come on very late very late at night playing in the West Coast they play the Dodgers, the Giants, Arizona.
Yeah.
They coming on pretty late. So tell me about your day-to-day process of watching games, tweeting about games, when you do write articles. How long does it take you normally to write an article and turn it around? Talk to me about that.
Really, it's the good thing about my job with working remotely is that I am at home, and so when there's day games I have the game on the TV out in the other room so that I've kind of got that going in the background and I can hear what's going on,
Yeah,
or I'll have a game pulled up on my phone kind of set off to the side so that way I can actually see what's happening. um, when it's their normal schedule, because I am in central time, so I'm an hour ahead.
Yep.
the Rockies with their time, which I love that when I'm going to games because I can, I can leave work an hour early and still get to Denver before the game starts. So, um, it's nice, like, it's a nice little situation where, I get off work and I've still got time to get everything, because I do have kids too, so I get everything done
Yeah.
family-wise, get dinner
Yeah.
done, get them kinda situation. They always watch the games with me, so, we get where we need to be, get things taken care of, sit down as a family and watch the games. I always have my scorebook out, I have my notepad out, I'm kinda keeping track of who's doing what and what's going on, and I use that really to kind of look for trends in performance or different little things that I see happening with the team that, okay, here, there's a little uptick in this going on, or they're starting to get a little more traction with this area. And that way I always have like kind of a timeline of when this started building versus when it kind of comes to when it really starts peaking for them and they really
Right.
and I see the wheels kind of spinning with certain areas, and that's really where it comes from. I'm tracking all kinds of different things at the same time. And when I see something that really stands out to me that is going well in this historically bad season, I'll kind of track that for a little bit, see what's happening with it. If it feels like it's just a one off situation, then it kind of gets shoved to the side. But if I start seeing that trend, that's where I'll really start trying to build something around, what can we talk about with this? Where are we seeing this come from? What can we,
Mhm.
where can I take that to? Um, if I'm doing a game recap, obviously that's like a 1 or 2 hour thing because once the game is over, I've got all those notes and all I have to do is kind of go sort through that, get the important stuff out of it, and put it together, and then we're off. But um, those are a little bit more of what I've been doing just because of all the back and forth that's been happening and all the bouncing around of the players. And one day you've got a guy that you think is solid, the next day he's gone and you're just like, oh,
Right.
I don't know what's happening anymore. So
Mhm.
I do have a few different stories that have been kind of in development for a few weeks now. um, and it's just really kind of looking for that trend to see if it's something that's sticking, because like I said, you start writing about something and next thing you know it falls off the wheels and you're just like, well, I don't want to go and jinx them and not have that come back. um, so just kind of try to watch the trends and see really what's out there to cover with these guys.
Absolutely. You know, obviously they're one of the fastest teams to get to 50 losses, if I'm not mistaken. That was
Yeah.
written, that was an article that written about that. And listen, as a Padres fan, I can't say that I'm like totally devastated. I
Oh,
mean,
I know, I know.
I'm just
My son
not.
is a Padres fan, so
There you go. You got
it's
a great
really,
son. He's a
yeah.
great kid, and I
Yeah,
what
and it's
great
it's
kid.
hard not to like, and people will absolutely come after me when they hear me say this, but it's really hard not to like the Padres. I They've got a lot of exciting players, and that's one of the things that people do not seem to get about me. Like I'm watching this game for players. Of course I have teams that I love, and I have my team that I grew up with, and the Rockies have been a team that has really I've gotten very fond of those guys, and they're all very likable players. It's hard not to. But the Padres have a lot of exciting guys. They have a lot of exciting stuff that happens. And yeah, they have their moments where they're struggling too, but they're really exciting. And it's just like as a Braves fan, here's the one thing that I get more hate for than anything else. I love Bryce Harper, and I will say that with my full chest
Mm,
any day of the week. And people just lose their mind. I have so much respect for him as an athlete. I love to watch him play.
mhm.
And so people will hear me say, "Oh no, they're doing," they'll hear me talking about another team and they're like, "How could you?" And I'm like, "Look at how they're playing. I love this
Right.
game." Like, yes,
Yeah.
I have my
Baseball.
teams and players, but I love this game. So when I see something exciting happening, I'm all over it.
Absolutely. I mean, we're sports purists, and I love that. I love the fact, yes, we write articles, we write stories, yes, we watch games, and yes, we're fans of our teams, right? As you said, I'm a Padres fan, but it doesn't mean I don't like Shohei Ohtani. He plays for the
Yeah,
Dodgers. I mean,
right.
he's amazing. He's an amazing
Mhm.
athlete. What I'm just gonna hate him because no, he's really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're the reigning champions, so they're pretty good, right? I love Freddie Freeman. Hello, I used to watch him at the Brave Stadium. I
Yeah.
love Freddie. So, you're totally right about that. I love that. But it's a great segue because I want to ask you now about mental health and work
Mhm.
life balance. A lot of times in this industry, you have journalists that step away because their mental health is not as strong. You have journalists that
Mhm.
step away because of the work life balance, right? Sometimes it's all work and no play. And you miss out on things, right? You talked about being a mom,
Yeah.
talked about you having kids, you have a full-time job, and you're also contributing to Rockies underscore now, right? So talk to me about how do you keep your mental health strong, but also have that work-life balance because, like I just brought mentioned all those again. You have kids, you have a full-time and this, but you also
Mhm.
need some Sarah time too, and you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. There's no question about that. So how do you balance all of that?
It really just comes down to, for me, the biggest thing, because I mean, there's no question my day starts and I'm off and running until I'm done. Like, and sometimes that's 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes that's 2 o'clock in the morning. I have been known. I am infamous, and it makes my friends so mad. I am infamous for noon on a Saturday, just being like, you know what? I'll see you guys later. I'm going to the Rockies game. Taking off to Denver, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm home. I'm just driving up, going to the game, and coming straight back, and it drives everybody I know crazy. But um, really, the ballpark is where I get my me time at. That's where my favorite place to be is. Just that atmosphere, even if things are not going well, it's such a that especially Coors Field. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's an beautiful ballpark, great environment.
Right.
Those people love that team. And even though they're in a really frustrating situation, they love those guys. Um, and I love being at that park. So that is one thing that I am really just known for is I will randomly just be like, I'm going to the game. Like, and then
Mm.
sometimes those are the games where I go and I'm like, all right, I'm just here to watch this game. I'm just here for the environment. I'm here to kind of clear my head. And
Got you.
but the part of me that writes about the team is always kind of wheels are turning in the back of my head watching the game. But
Sure.
I am able to kind of compartmentalize that a little bit. But really, another part of it is the people that you surround yourself with in each of these environments. um,
Okay.
i'm I'm very lucky that in my full time I have a wonderful team that I work with. They're amazing. We all work very well together. We're all very supportive of each other. My director in what I do, we call each other twin all the time. We're very similar personalities. She's very supportive and she's very good at hey, if you need this, go do what you need to do. And so having that in your full time job, that's the biggest blessing ever. But then outside of that, I keep a very small circle of friends, and I do that intentionally because the more people you have, the more opportunities there are for a lot of drama. And I stay focused on my kids. I stay focused on people that are important to me. And I have had situations before, like with my previous podcast, I had two co-hosts. One of them, she and I still are working on some ideas for bringing some things back, but it just became a very toxic environment with another
Sure.
one of them.
Hmm.
And I finally just had to tell everybody, hey, we're putting it on pause for a little while. I cannot do this with you guys anymore. And it was something that had been a project that was very dear to me and that I was very passionate about. So to have to shelve that because of a toxic environment, it really did a number on me. But it took that to step back and go, it's not worth having an extra fan base in there if it's going to be this kind of chaos and this kind of drama every 5 seconds. So um, but it also helped me really kind of see what I wanted that show to be and what the real vision for it was. So um, you know, I try to take those moments where my mental health is getting challenged on something and use them as ways to build or to redefine what it is that I'm doing. So,
No, I respect that. And I appreciate your transparency opening up about that. It's never easy ending something that you love to do.
Yeah.
But you got to make those difficult decisions at times to be able to have a clear head, clear mind, and just be better yourself. Because
Yeah, absolutely.
you never want to put yourself in a situation where it could be toxic like that. And I love the fact that you keep a small group of circle of friends, day ones, people that understand your schedule, people that are open to you, possibly changing stuff up. Great to have a boss that's open minded as well as your
Yeah, absolutely.
director. Because that's the one thing as journalists as well. When I moved here to Minnesota, and even for some journalists that I know, we try to find people that are likewise, that are journalists like
Yeah.
us, because we have to be able to connect on a level. It's hard for somebody in the business world that's 8 to 4, 9 to 5, or 9 to 6 or whatever to try to
Hmm.
understand our schedule. It's just hard for
Yeah.
them to do because they can't relate. They don't know what it is. And then a lot of those friends get mad. I've had to cut some of those friends off because they say, "Chris, you can't come to the bar. You can't turn up with us." No, sir. I got this
Yeah.
game I got to do. I got to cover this game. I got to do this. I got to do that. But if you want to meet up on
Absolutely.
Tuesday, Tuesday at such and such time in the daytime, oh my bad, I forgot. You work in business hours, so we're not on the same schedule. So
Yeah.
um my mental health was definitely affected when I first moved here for sure. After getting off at midnight at night and looking around and nobody wants to hang out on Wednesday at midnight.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're going to games by yourself, you're doing things by yourself, and then that's something that you just have to be comfortable with because this is a dream
Hmm.
that you've always had, and
Yeah.
you just have to sacrifice that. So I totally understand what you're talking about for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, my group of friends, we are very well known for closing the bar down when we do go out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're there to get after it. And we have a good time. Like the name of your show, work hard, play harder.
Mhm.
We're there.
I'm all about it.
But it's also something that I am more than willing to say, hey guys, we got a game against the Dodgers. It doesn't start till 10 o'clock. Like, come
Mhm.
on. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be there because I'm also not gonna by the time it gets over, I got maybe an hour where I could go out and I'm gonna go to bed instead.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm either gonna work on this story or I'm gonna go straight to bed and get up and work on that story in the morning.
No, I
I
feel that.
it's a good time whenever you do take that break, but I am one, especially in the summertime. They've just kind of learned that they're probably not going to see me a whole lot. Um, you
Mhm.
know, like you said, I actually have a friend. We're planning on going and grabbing dinner on Wednesday, and I was like, just so you know, I'm gonna have the game on my phone while we're hanging out. She's like, okay. I was like, good, just making sure you know.
I love it. That's what's up, Sarah. I love that. What kind of advice would you give someone that wants to do kind of the same thing that you're doing, right? Does a full-time job, but really is very passionate about sports and just wants to get involved in somehow, some way. What kind of advice would you give that individual?
Um, Keep working at it. I before I was ever doing the podcast or doing anything else, still before it became something that I was doing that was being published, I have notebook. I've got one right here, notebooks on notebooks on notebooks on notebooks and
Mhm.
scorebooks full, just absolutely full of notes and this and that, and was always, never stop preparing yourself for it. Just keep practicing what you're doing. It doesn't matter if anybody, even if you're just throwing it up on, you know, an internet blog that's not getting any traffic right at the moment. Just keep putting it out there and keep putting it out there and working on your craft. And eventually you're going to find an opportunity. Um, for me, it would have been really cool. Growing up, I would have loved to have worked for the Braves in some aspect or to have covered the Braves in some aspect. But where I live, it's not a realistic thing. And fortunately, the Rockies, even though my first couple years there, I actually never saw the Braves win a game against the Colorado Rockies in Denver, Colorado until this year. I have
Oh,
never been to a game that the Braves have won. And so when I was a little kid, the Rockies were kind of the bane of my existence. You know, Lake Street Bombers, all those guys used to drive me nuts because every year we would go up there. But at the same time, it was exciting, and there was that little part of me that was like, "Man, these guys are fun to watch. Like, this is really fun to watch." And
mhm.
that just always kinda stuck with me and developed from, "Oh, man, I can't stand it when we play the Rockies," to, "I love it. I wanna go to the Rockies game." Like, we went this year, and, I actually found myself rooting for the Rockies over the Braves, and that was a new one for me.
Wow, look at you.
So
Okay.
I was in on it. I was there for it.
Mm,
But yeah, that was and that the one night that I wasn't rooting for the Braves is the one night that they beat the Rockies. So maybe I just need to do that and it'll help. But I don't
maybe, just
know.
maybe. I like that. That's pretty cool. Okay. Okay. Now, we've reached the portion of this podcast to where we can play my interactive game called This or That. So basically, what that is,
Okay.
Sarah, is that I throw some things at you and you get to choose this or that. So, Sarah, are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, here we go. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you rather eat at? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
That's my girl. Okay, girl, you on point like a period right now. I like that. Here we go.
I'm
Let's keep
about
it
the
going.
Popeyes.
Let's keep it going. Here we go. Do you eat chicken wings?
Yes.
Okay. Which flavor would you rather have on a chicken wing out of these two? Barbecue and lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Oh man. Um Honestly, like a dry rub and then dip them.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on that. Okay. Um that's sort of 50-50. I don't know if that's this or
I don't know. It's kinda hard to if I'm just going like, if I'm making wings at home, they're baked, so they're dry, but
okay.
I've
I
always
got
got some kinda sauce to dip them in too,
it.
so
Okay.
I guess you
Okay.
would say dry with a
Okay, here
side
we
of
go.
sauce.
Do you like bone in or boneless wings?
Bone in.
Oh, okay. I like it. I like it. All right. Now, do let me ask this next question. It's a sports question.
Okay.
Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or football?
Football.
Okay. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
I had to stop and think what badminton is for a minute. I guess I'd rather go bowling. I was like, "Wait, what is that?" Oh, yeah, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, no,
I guess.
bowling.
Are you a good bowler?
It depends. I usually have like the first game is not great. The second game is all right. The third game is kind of where I peak, and then it goes back downhill from there because I've usually been drinking and I have
Mm.
bad elbows. My elbows are awful. After throwing that ball for about 3 games, I'm
Hmm.
out. So
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that 411. I do. I'm a huge bowler. I love bowling. I'm not gonna say I'm the greatest at it, but when I get cold beverages in me, hey, watch out. So I'm pretty
I
good.
am
So yeah.
I am definitely not on Mookie Betts level bowling wise. Like that is not ever going to be me, but
No.
I can hold my own for a couple games.
No, no, definitely not Mookie. That's for sure. These next four questions have to do with music concerts you rather attend. So here we go.
Okay.
Which music concert would you rather go see? Beyonce or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Which music concert would you rather go see? Casey Musgraves or Taylor Swift?
Oh, probably Casey Musgraves. I don't ever want to go see Taylor Swift.
Your face changed when you said that. Why did your
Mm.
face change? Is it that bad?
I okay, here's the thing. I don't necessarily I'm really not I don't really care for Casey Musgraves either. Um Taylor Swift
Hmm.
has some songs that I like. I don't like if they come on, I'm not gonna skip them, depending on what it is.
Okay.
I have a very
Okay.
select few. It's the crowd at a Taylor Swift show that I would never want to get in the middle of. I'll stay away from that. Like, even though I
Okay.
would prefer Taylor Swift's songs, I would rather go be in a Casey Musgraves crowd than ever deal with the Swifties, I guess would be the
I
best way
feel
to
that.
put that.
Okay. Which band would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Limp Bizkit or Corn?
I have seen both, and Limp Bizkit was so much more fun.
Okay, okay. Now, which band would you rather go see? These are two of my favorite bands.
Okay.
Blink 182 or Breaking Benjamin?
Oh, I'm gonna go Breaking Benjamin because they are another one that I've seen several times, and they are amazing live.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
sound is phenomenal.
Absolutely. No question about it. And those are two of my favorite bands. Blink 182, obviously, San Diego roots. They're from San
Hmm.
Diego. So yes, I get that. And then Breaking Benjamin, sorry, one of my favorite groups for sure.
Oh.
Okay. Do you like desserts, Sarah?
Occasionally. I'm not a huge sweets person, really.
Okay, so listen, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw four categories at you of desserts. You
Okay.
got to choose one of these that you'll never eat again. So here we go.
Oh, okay. This is easy then.
The first one is ice cream. The second one is cookies. The third one is candy. The last one is cake/pies. Which one are you getting rid of?
Mm, I'm gonna say cookies.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, Sarah, girl. Cookies. Oh.
I'm going cookies. I
Mm,
really don't eat a lot of cookies. Now, ice cream, I love if I'm gonna eat something sweet, I would especially, and I think it's probably because it's a billion degrees right now. Um, Ice cream just sounds amazing.
okay.
uh
Now, what's your
can
favorite ice cream?
I like the peanut butter fudge ice cream
Okay. Okay. All right.
or the
That's not bad.
peppermint. Peppermint ice cream would absolutely hit the spot right now. It's so good.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I definitely wouldn't get rid of ice cream. I would have got rid of candy myself.
I like to have, I love sour candy. Like I don't like a lot of chocolate or sweet stuff like that, but I love sour candy. And then on the cakes and pies, I don't really like cake, but I do love a good like cheesecake,
Mm,
apple pie. That's that's my type of vibe there.
okay. I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you. Do you like potato chips?
Sometimes I'm not a big potato chip either.
So this is the same format. I'm gonna throw
Okay.
four brands at you. You got to choose one of these to get rid of. So here we go.
Okay.
First brand is gonna be Ruffles. The
Okay.
next brand is gonna be Lay's. The third brand is gonna be Pringles. The last brand will be Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of?
Um, I'm gonna say Lay's. They're so
Oh,
greasy.
okay. I would have said Lay's too. So we rocking with that one. Okay.
So,
If you are eating chips, what is your favorite chip to eat?
I like the spicy nacho Doritos or
Mm,
like the sour cream and onion Ruffles.
okay, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. You got some good taste and some chips. I don't know about the sweets, but the chips, you good. You definitely good. No question. Okay. I love asking this question to people who are sports writers like yourself. I want to ask you a top four. What
Okay.
is your top four of stories, events, or things that you would like to cover in your sports writing career that you would like to do?
Mm,
What is a bucket list?
Obviously, bucket list of sporting events. Obviously, the World Series would be
Sure.
number one. The All-Star game would be really cool. Some of the side events. I'm not a big I as far as the All-Star game itself, I can kind of take it or leave it. But some of the side stuff like the home run derby and stuff like that would be
Yeah,
really
that would
cool
be
to
pretty cool.
cover.
That'd be cool.
Um, I went last year for the last game of the season, which was also Charlie Blackmon's last game.
Okay.
And I wish I would have been doing what I'm doing now then. Like I just started this writing about the Rockies this season, and I wish I would have been writing about them when I went to that game, because that was one of my friends went with me, and I got made fun of all the way home because as soon as they pulled him from the game, I ugly cried for like 30 minutes. I'm not
Wow.
ashamed of that at all. um, but I mean, to it's so something, I guess, something similar to that. A long tenured player. I mean, that man spent his entire career with Colorado and
Sure did.
didn't get a whole lot out of it at the end of the day. Went out on a 100 loss season. But he gave everything he had to that team, and he was such an amazing player to watch, like for so many years.
Yeah.
So I think covering an event like that in a more official capacity would be something that I would really want to do at some point in time.
Okay. So you say World Series, All-Star game. I think you got to give me one more.
Um, a game where there's just a massive brawl that breaks out. There's nothing I love more than a baseball fight. Like I love it. I when the Padres and the Dodgers benches cleared the other night, I was in there screaming at the
Oh
TV,
yeah.
just let them go,
Oh
let them
yeah.
go. I
Yeah, they
love
hit
it.
Tatis a
I
couple
love a good
times. I'm
fight.
like, all right now, come on. Y'all need to stop hitting my man Tatis. That don't make no sense.
Yeah,
It's Padres, it's Dodgers. They got history. Both of them have
yeah,
beaten each other in the playoffs, knocked each other out. So, Dodgers are the reigning champs. They're in the same
yeah.
division. So I get it. It's gonna be a lot
It's
of
always
tension.
heated,
It's always
and
heated between them.
I love a good Bryce Harper meltdown. Like when he gets mad about something and just starts going berserk. I'm like, okay, here it is. Let's go. Let's see what he's got this time.
That is an interesting
I'm a
name.
sucker for a good I'm a sucker for a good fight.
I feel that. There might be something more with that Bryce Harper thing though, because you said Bryce Harper's name, and that came out of just left field. Because here's the reason why I say that, because you're a Colorado fan, you're a Braves fan,
Hmm.
but you're a Bryce Harper fan too, and I'm like, Bryce Harper played for the Phillies and the
And the
Nationals,
Nationals. Yeah.
both
Yeah,
teams. I'm like,
that's why I
what?
said earlier, I get a lot of hate for that. Now, I will be the first person to admit when he first came up, um, he the attitude almost killed. Like he wasn't very he was very disrespectful a lot of times. He had a real cocky attitude about him. But I
Mm.
also I kind of like those players like that. Like I like the ones I hate the Soto shuffle. Let me just tell you right now, I hate the Soto shuffle. But I do
Okay.
kind of like some of that cockiness that Juan Soto carries with him. Same with Fernando Tatis. I love those players that, and Ronald Acuna. I love those players that kind of carry themselves like that. Um,
Okay.
Now, Bryce was really hot headed. He was very disrespectful there in his early years, and it was made it hard for him to watch. Made it hard to watch him, I should say. But seeing how he has grown and matured as a person, and the player that he has become, and the person that he has become, um, the way he handles situations now, yes, he still gets hot-headed. Um,
Mhm.
but when you list if you sit down and watch, like I watched back when back before Jared Carabas and Dallas Braden left Barstool,
Mhm.
they sat down and did like a 3-hour interview with Bryce Harper. And I was still a little on the fence about him at that point in time. Like you cannot deny his athletic ability. Like you can't.
No, you can't deny
Like
that. No,
there's no getting around that at all. That man is a beast on the field. Um,
no doubt.
but personality wise, he is very abrasive, and I can get why some people would absolutely hate him. But I sat down and watched that interview because I was like, I can't believe they talked to this guy for this long. And I watched the entire thing in one
Wow.
sitting. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what? I had that guy wrong. Like, I'm here for it. I like him now. So,
Okay. I can
and
respect that.
the more that I've seen, just him as a person more than on
Mhm.
the field, like anybody that sits there and like Bryce Harper sucks, I'm like, then you're not watching baseball. Like
Yeah.
you're just trying to you're rage baiting right now. Like he doesn't suck. Like it doesn't matter if you like him or not, he doesn't
Right.
suck.
Yeah. You
Um,
just trolling. You trolling right now. So I get
yeah.
that. Okay. That's what's
But
up.
and I'm like that, and Tatis is another one that a lot of people get pretty divided on, especially
Right.
with, the steroid situation and all that other stuff and the attitude that he's had. But he's another one that he actually, Amarillo, Texas used to be the Padres AA affiliate until they did the realignment a few years ago. And he got
Right.
sent there on a rehab assignment. And as soon as we found out he was getting sent to Amarillo, we were there. Like it's a 2.5 hour drive. We took off immediately to go see him
Mm.
play. So we got to see him down in like those smaller environments when he was still pretty new, and to watch, like, just to see what he's turned into. Like he's been what he's been and what he keeps going on to
Oh yeah.
be, is pretty cool.
He's
But
definitely that dude.
yeah, but I mean, I like guys like him. Like Manny Machado is another one that's pretty divisive. I love
Hmm.
Manny. I think Manny's great.
He's great.
I
He
I
is
like
great.
those guys that aren't afraid to. They're not afraid to have their guys' backs. That's why managers like Schilt, I love to watch. Like Schilt has got his guys' backs.
Yep.
Like he might not always be right about it, but he's always got their backs, and
Yeah.
he doesn't
Absolutely.
handle it in the best way. Which that's a really pretty abrupt departure when you're used to watching, the Braves and how very, when Snick got ejected from a game a few weeks ago, and I was just like, he what? Like he moved? Like I couldn't. When you have
Hmm.
managers that are so passive like that, it's refreshing to see ones that will go to the plate for their guys. But I like those players that are a little louder. Those are the guys I like to watch. They're exciting.
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in mind, no doubt. Now, what advice has someone gave you, Sarah, that you hold on dearly to?
Um, Man, probably just don't let anybody tell you no.
Mm.
Don't take no for an answer. Even, you might turn that no. You might take no from one person, but you're not going to stop doing what you're doing. You're going to keep going to the next person, and the next person, and the next person, and eventually you're not going to get a no.
Right.
Um, that's probably the biggest one, is just don't take no for an answer. Now, of course, that does not apply to all situations in life, but you know what I'm talking about. For in you know in pursuing your goals and what you're really wanting to do, don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I would definitely say you're right on both instances for what you said. Um, no question. You're gonna get more no's than yeses in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just an absolute fact. But you have to um you got to be able to take advantage of the yeses that you do get and show them why they made the right decision of a yes, to say yes to you. And
Yeah,
that is what you have to have with your mindset and your focus with that. So I love asking that. Yes, don't take no for an answer in this industry. Don't get discouraged, is basically
yeah,
what you're saying by the word of no, because that's going to happen. People are going to tell you no a lot more times than they tell you yes, for sure.
yeah, absolutely. You're gonna get 100 no's before you ever get a yes, and
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong, but
It
it's just
just means
normal.
that that's not the right fit for you. Just keep moving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's real easy to get discouraged because you're like, man, I really wanted this, I really wanted that. But in this industry, I've learned being in it for the past 7 years, you never want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Oh yeah, no,
uh, you kind of want to spread them out a little bit, and be open to moving, be open to change, especially when you're starting out, because people
yeah,
that start out, that just graduated college or interning or just trying to get a little taste of something, they have a misconception sometimes, Sarah, that oh wow, she's writing for this MLB team, or she's on TV broadcasting, or he's doing this and he's doing that. And it's really a misconception because they don't understand the behind the scenes work that goes into what they do. They just see the
yeah.
final product
They don't know where all you've been to get to that point. Like I
without question.
one person that I think it's a really cool kind of weird full circle story. I mentioned when I was a kid we had the collegiate league team that was here and they played a block from my house.
Mhm.
And it would have been while I was a kid. It was right after I had actually left. Elkhart and was just coming back during the summers for baseball games.
Mhm.
There was a guy, you being a Padres fan, you might know who he is, Jesse Agler,
Yep.
does radio.
Mhm.
He had just finished college and was in this tiny little town calling Elkhart Dusters games for the summer. And
Oh,
now he's with the San Diego Padres.
yeah.
And I remember I turned on a game just like within the last couple of months and I was like, "What? I know that name. Who is that guy?" And I had to go and look because I was like, I know him." And
Mhm.
he has that in his bio on the Padres website that he called games for the Elkhart Dusters as his first broadcasting job. And um, to me, that's crazy. That this, like I said, this is a town of 1,700 people, and that was really as the team was kind of starting. I think they only lasted a couple seasons after that before they stopped bringing them in.
Okay. Okay.
So he was kind of there on the tail end of that. So to be um, here doing that to where he is, which it would have been about 20 years ago, but to go from here doing that to where he is now, like that kind of shows you a little bit of a glimpse into the kind of path that nobody wants to be in a town of 1,700 people calling collegiate league baseball games. That is not where you want to be at. Everybody wants to
Right.
be where he's at now,
Right.
but you got to start somewhere. And so that for you, I always tell people take every opportunity you can get. Like at one point in time I had 7 different podcasts going at one time.
Wow. That
And
is a bit. Wow.
it was, it was a lot to juggle, and there were a lot of eggs going in a lot of baskets. But every single one of those was building a different network that is still it's still very beneficial to me to this day. And I'm so grateful for some of the people that I met through that. Um, I'm I'm grateful for the friends that I made through that, for the connections that I made through that, and
Yeah.
just for the confidence that covering so many different, because we had a music show, we had just kind of a general chat type thing. We had the baseball show, and then we had a lot of really like kind of hot topic, very controversial type shows that I was involved in too, that were talking about a lot of wild stuff. Um, but to get your hands in all those different baskets and to do all those different things and to meet such a broad spectrum of people, that is something that it's so invaluable.
That's why we do it.
And yeah, it's really, and it's a cool experience. You get to see, and it also kind of shows you, okay, this is a path that I really enjoy. This one, maybe I don't want to go so much towards that anymore. Um, but it gives you a really cool opportunity to see how different industries work and how you make connections within those different industries and to get to do a lot of really cool stuff. I've talked to a lot of really cool people that I
Right.
never would have thought I would talk to.
Mhm.
I've talked to everybody. Oh goodness, he worked on Bob's Burgers. He's an animator, and his
Oh,
name
wow.
is
Was that Seth Green?
no, not Seth Green. Oh my
Is it
goodness,
the McFarlane guy, the Family Guy
no,
dude?
no, 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 no. Um,
Oh, then no, I'm not sure.
he's an illustrator. He's an illustrator. He's not,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, he's
Okay.
not a character guy. He's an illustrator. But just sit down and talk to him, and I see, I still, I follow him on social media, and I see some of the projects that he's working on now, and I'm just like, I never would have thought I'd talk to that guy.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
it's been a really cool experience, and I've got to reconnect with people from back in my music days when I was more, when I was out at shows all the time and on the road and doing stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I've got to reconnect with a lot of those people through it, and so it's been cool to catch up with people and to do a lot of that. But if I hadn't taken every yes that came my way, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now because
I
every
love it.
last bit of it is a learning experience.
Yes, it is. I absolutely agree. I love that. That is awesome. Sarah, this has been a pretty dope conversation to have with you, learning about you,
Yeah,
learning about your beginnings, learning about what you do, learning about who you are. I just am appreciative of who you are and what you do, appreciative of you allocating your time, of being on my podcast
absolutely.
once again, work hard, play harder. As I always do with every guest that I have on here, my final question to you is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Um, Make sure you go follow Rockies underscore now 5280 media on all
Yeah,
platforms.
absolutely.
That's where my articles about the Rockies are coming out from. Um, yeah, that's really the biggest thing. We got a great group over there. We're doing a lot of really fun stuff, and hopefully, if the Rockies keep playing the way they're playing, those wheels are turning. We'll be doing more of it. So,
I hope so too. Obviously, I'm a new fan of yours. I will continue
well,
to be
thank you.
following you. And I want you to have a wonderful Monday evening and the rest of your week. And you and I would definitely be in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Bye.